So it's been about 30 years since I've been in this industry now. It's not something that we've seen before and quite groundbreaking. And I think it gives the power in the hands of anybody who wants to use research and get insights.
Hi Manish, it's so good catching up with you.
Hey Sid, always a pleasure meeting you.
It's been a years. They've been talking about insights and how to play around with this. And you've seen everything in the last 30 years, right? Right from those clipboards to boardroom dashboards and all that, but you have seen it. How is that looking like as of now today to you?
Well, apart from you making me feel old, things are looking very, very exciting today. In fact, the space has never been as exciting as it is today. With the technology, a lot of new brands have come, a lot of D2C brands have come, which are interestingly quite rooted in consumer needs, but they're extremely fast and extremely agile. Absolutely. So therefore, insights need to be real insights, but also in real time. And I think that's what is interesting and challenging about it.
Correct. So I remember we once discussing about how few brands have been built on big budgets and not really focusing on insights. And now with D2C space coming in, and with the fast launches happening around and expectations, I don't know if you know that in the last 2 years, maximum number of brands have been launched across the space. So it also needs a different way of looking at insights as well for the brands and the founders specifically. Do you see that changing from an industry perspective?
Yeah, so there are a few things that are different in my view. One is that yes, big budgets are required because it took a lot of time and a lot of effort to find the right respondents and do the analysis and run the tables and all of that. So it took a lot of time and money. But the brands are built, and that was the budget was required, but the good brands are built on good real insights, and that doesn't change, irrespective of whether it's a new age D2C brand or whether it's a legacy brand or brand built in the traditional way. But I think there is one thing which is common, that a good brand is based on good consumer insights, right? Wherever they come from, that's common. But what's different is that the D2C brands, the way people shop D2C is very different. So you need a lot of insights about the shopping behavior and how are people shopping and how is that changing. So quick commerce, for example, is changing the way people are shopping. So you need a lot of those insights for D2C brands. Then the other thing that you need is the speed and the agility, because they launch 100 SKUs in a month, and delist probably 50 the next month, and so on and so forth. So you need to know which ones to launch and which one to delist, and the speed and agility is very, very high. So managing cost at such a high speed and agility is something that is a challenge and something that the brands need in order to operate at that fast pace. Otherwise, they won't get any insight. They will just throw darts.
Absolutely.
And see whatever's sticking, you run with that.
Right. Back in my days, and now also when I was talking to a few people around, the reason why they don't get into research is all because of time consumption, cost, and hence they go by the gut feel. Yeah. But time has gone, I think, when people can go by the gut feel only, right? And that's when, and this is the reason why we came up with something called the PulseSurveysAI, right? Why this is the first time I know you're hearing about it, but you've been working on it for a long time now. Yeah. And then this is exactly what you said, right? A fast research, quick response, but also from the right audience is the need of the hour.
Correct. So fast response we need, and the other thing is that because there are so many brands, obviously a lot of them are targeting niche benefits and niche consumers. So the ability to find them at a faster pace rather than spend a lot of time like finding a needle in a haystack is another requirement. So is your Smytten Pulse geared for that as well?
Manish, rather than me just talking about it, why don't you just actually give a live demo of what is happening around? In fact, you might want to access yourself. And before coming, I created an ID for you. Do you have a machine nearby?
Yeah, I do. Let's look at it and see, what your Smytten Pulse is going to say. So I've logged into the ID that you sent me.
PulseSurveyAI is what you're done.
Yeah, PulseSurvey.ai, and I've logged into the ID that you sent me.
Think of a burning problem and think yourself as a D2C founder.
Okay. So let's look at one of the spaces that's very, very hot in D2C, skincare.
Sure.
And let's look at skincare routine practices of Gen Zs.
Oh, fantastic. My favorite topic, I would say. Gen Zs are so unpredictable. Yeah, okay.
So I'm typing here skincare.
Yeah, skincare routine by Gen Zs.
Routines by Gen
Z in India. Just to be precise. Yeah, that should.
Okay.
Hopefully. It's always a risk as a founder we take by giving live demo, but hopefully it will work.
Yeah, let's see what it does.
Yeah. What did it tell you?
So it's telling me great objective to craft the perfect survey. Could you tell me what specifically about skincare routine do you want? There is product preferences, frequency of uses, spending habits, etc. And what's the ultimate goal?
So it's just helping you to sharpen your objective here by asking the right questions. Yeah?
Okay. So I'll say what are their product preferences and brand perception?
Yeah. And also purchase behavior if you want to, along with the price points. Yeah.
Preferences, brand
perceptions. Price points,
and buying behavior.
Yeah.
What's the objective of the research? Objective is to understand what brands, how brands can stand out.
Absolutely. Or can cater to this audience, whichever way you want to put it. Yeah.
To cater to this audience.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
So what it does is actually going through that and then trying to find out what all is available.
Okay. So survey aims to understand Gen Z skincare preferences, brand perceptions, price sensitivity, etc. To ensure we capture the right data, could you share some details on the specific brands or product categories that you're interested in? Also specific aspects of buying behavior. Okay. So product categories of interests, we can say face moisturizers, for example.
Yeah, and face moisturizer.
Face moisturizers, serum, face washes.
Face washes, yeah. I mean, let's.
Buying behavior is about
we can say it
is
what online versus offline versus
offline.
Yeah.
And influencers influence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. It will interpret on its own. Yeah.
Product categories are face moisturizers, serum, face washes, etc. Okay, great. So we'll focus on the 7 face moisturizers. To make it comprehensive, tell us which brands would you like to include?
Select the current D2C brands.
Select current D2C brands.
Yeah.
I don't have to give brand name.
No, you don't. If you want, you can, but let it.
Okay, let's see if it figures out what are the D2C brands. So face moisturizers, to get a relevant, could you put a list of specific D2C brands? Okay, it's asking for specific D2C brands. So let's give.
Make your own judgment. You can just print this.
Okay, make your own judgment.
Yes.
I like that. So basically, if I don't know anything about the category, also I can.
Absolutely, that's the idea out here. That anyone can do this.
Yeah. So, if I'm just starting out to see what are the face care brands, what are the D2C brands, what do people think of that, what are the buying behavior, etc. Then I can put it and it'll give me its own judgment. And then I can fine-tune my judgment and then sharpen the research anymore.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
See, that's going to the brand names as well.
The brand name saying, here's a list of popular D2C brands, 82 degrees east.
Yeah.
That's a Deepika Padukone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
actually picked up pretty right
Conscious
brands.
Chemist, Mamaearth, Plum Goodness, Wow, Alpha, Vedic, Dega, Derma, Foxtail, Earth Rhythm, Minimalist, and McAfee.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Just proceed, if it's okay with you.
Proceed. So it's given me the brand list name. Now it will give me some sense of what the behavior looks like.
And it will actually give you a bit of a knowledge around how the current one is.
Right.
And not only that, after the reading, going through that, in case you want to modify the survey, it will allow you to do that as well.
So before it creates a survey, it will actually give me some background knowledge.
Absolutely.
Which it will pull out from?
It primarily pulls out from 2 different sources. One is the billions of data points I'm sitting at the back end through Smytten itself over the last 9 years that we have collected.
Right.
And on top of it, also picks up from social media and other platforms side of it. It is the AI ML thing that we have got it right at the back end.
Okay. So your Smytten big data, metadata it's using, plus it's also looking other information.
Skipping to the data on the social side.
Right. And it's doing that while we talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, it will also show you a source of all the information. And to top it up, in case you have some report or something else that you want it to consider in its while it's doing all this knowledge generation and survey, it will take care of that.
Right.
So what it's doing now, it also is showing you on the right hand side what all is actually going through the backend.
Right.
Because then what it gives you a lot of confidence that the way it is all happening is correct.
Right. And the interface is quite interesting. I mean, it looks pretty high tech, but it's also very simple.
Yes.
It's like you're doing Gemini, that Google has.
Absolutely.
But it looks actually a little better than that. Plus, you've got things coming on this side, and you've got your questions and chat, sort of a board on the left hand side. So makes it pretty easy.
Coming from you means a lot. So you got some knowledge.
Right. So it says my knowledge 88%, 39 different sources it's curated from. My understanding from
If you just click on that sources, it will also show you all the 39 sources where it got the information from.
Okay.
And in case you want to add something,
So some business sites, some Mintel.com, India Today, Your Story.
anything and everything that's there.
Okay.
On top of from Smytten.
Now on this, if I already have, now in this case I don't have too much of an information, but if I already have, let's say Euromonitor reports, Mintel reports, or other social listening reports, can I add to this so that it can build the...
Absolutely. You can add those reports as well.
Brilliant. So if I have my reports, I can add to that instead of just relying on, the system pulling out data.
Right.
Okay, so Gen Z 18 to 27 is the key demographic. Acne is the top skincare concern. It's already what's top skincare concern, followed by dark circles. And they prioritize products with natural ingredients and clinically proven activities like XYZ and niacinamide and so on. Increasingly interested in D2C brand, influenced by efficacy. E-commerce is the dominant channel, which is significantly shaping their buying behavior. Online reviews and recommendations are highly valued. They move away from traditional fairness products, focusing on skin health, radiance, blah, blah. Men are also increasingly participating in skin beauty. Interestingly, we did not say females or males.
Yeah, we didn't specify the gender, but
we
picked
didn't
up both.
We just picked up both, yeah. Then it's giving some demographics or, what are the locations, urban cities and top 2 and 3 tier cities.
Right.
Income, what's the income group? What are the skincare concerns? So blackheads, dark circles, acne, etc. that we saw, collagen boosting.
All of this so far has been in few minutes, yeah.
Serum says usage, factors influencing the face wash choices, price range that they're interested in, online versus offline purchase, a few interesting information on that, saying e-commerce dominant, quick commerce is coming in gradually. Social media, what are the platforms that are influencing? So Instagram, YouTube, Groom Skincare, the GRWM Skincare, that one, I don't know how to pronounce
it. See, just one category in Gen Z has so much to talk about already.
Correct, clearly we're not Gen Z, so we don't know how to pronounce certain things. My factors influencing purchase, key factors influencing purchase decisions, reviews, recommendations, sustainability. Oh, that's a lot of information that is thrown up in a couple of minutes, which can give you a good context of what's happening in this market and what's happening with the target audiences. Now, having seen this, we've got some idea of, sort of what the category looks like, what the market looks like, etc.
Yeah.
We can now proceed to create a survey.
Absolutely. See, creating survey has been a job of weeks in the past, right? Just click on that button. Proceed. On the right bottom, yeah.
Okay. This looks good. Let's proceed. Yeah. So creating a survey usually, making a questionnaire takes time. Silent questionnaire copy pasting is easier.
Correct.
But creating from scratch takes a bit of time because there's a logic, there's a loop, etc.
Yes. So what you will do now is it's actually looked at what all things that you actually read so far.
Right.
And now we'll be revalidating those through the surveys. That's the objective. And at the same time, it's known that if you give a survey of hundreds of questions now to come out, we're going to fill those answers.
Yeah.
And hence it will sharpen that. Right? It's already done that.
Okay. So it's saying it's now giving me the structure of the survey, which is good before I jump into the questions. Section 1 is skincare habits and concerns. Section 2 is brand awareness and perceptions. Section 3 is price sensitivity and spending habits. Section 4 is purchasing channels and preferences. And then finally, last section is influence of social media.
And again, you can edit, you can add, whatever you want to do it, or delete.
So at this stage, I can add a particular section or say this section is not important.
Absolutely.
Okay. So for now, let's go with whatever section is recommending. Proceed to the survey.
Click on that button. Yeah.
Okay, analyzing request. It's also telling me what is it actually doing.
Right. So it's a conversational AI.
It's a conversational AI.
Yeah. So
okay, interesting.
It just doesn't leave. It's not a simple survey. Just leave one and does on its own.
So it's loading the survey. So usually the conversational AI like the ChatGPT or Gemini, etc., also speak to you via whatever is written here.
Right.
Here is just text, so you'll have that option in the future.
Absolutely.
But actually, I'm finding that speaking a little annoying. I'm happy to read. Fine-tuning the survey.
Yeah, what it will do is now it will create those questions, and I'll show you one very, very interesting thing after that. But even in the question, a similar thing, right? So you can change whatever you want to change it, right from sequence to questions. Ultimately, over a period of time, it will get a lot more sharper. But where it is, it's already very, very useful for the founders.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine this is pretty quick way of understanding the context and doing this. Okay, here's a questionnaire, and it's like in less than 5 minutes we have a questionnaire. So 5 sections, 16 questions, and I have an option to edit this survey.
Yeah.
Right. So screening and demographics, which is asking the age and the logic on what questions to move, which is already built in, which is interesting. Which city you live in, skincare habits and concerns, how often do you use a moisturizer, face.
Just keep thinking of the objective we gave it earlier, and it is through these 16 questions, you know, to address all of that, right?
Which brands are you aware of? Okay, so it's asking for one of the things that you, sort of concerns that you have on the face.
Right.
And how do you choose the skincare products? And then it's going to brand awareness and perception. But I can change the flow if I want to ask the concerns after brand awareness.
You can. And if you have some filter questions, you can add filter questions as well.
Okay, right. And I go to the edit the survey?
Yeah.
Or do I ask the chat to
either? You can do either. You can just put it there. Please add this as a section. They'll do it. If you want to edit yourself and
okay, let's just try. I'm just going to say, can you delete question 7 for the sake of simplicity?
Yeah.
Can you delete question 7? I've asked to delete the question 7, and it's interestingly telling me that, asking me why do I want to remove it.
Somebody is challenging CMI force finally. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to optimize and say reduce the length of the question, but it's saying it's in line with actually, the objective. So it's suggesting alternative ways. So I'll say suggest an alternate way then.
Yes.
Not sure about you, but I just love this.
Yeah. The thing is, it also makes you think
again,
about that, what we might be used to.
That's the idea. Because ultimate aim is that the objective has to be met.
Okay, so it's suggesting a matrix question about the importance of skincare products with a separate single select questions or a ranking exercise.
Yeah, choose which way you think.
Open answer which approves best. So I'll say separate single select questions. Select questions.
So what it do is, it will replace that question now, which way you say finally is to go for.
How important is hydration? Not at all important, etc. And so on. Once I have the wording for each benefit, I can make the
Yeah.
So I'll say proceed.
Proceed, yeah.
Okay. Super. So if I have a very basic understanding of how the questionnaire logic works in terms of, if they said this, then you ask that question. That much is enough for me to sort of look and edit the question.
At times,
I don't
you may
need to
not
be a
need the
master.
basic understanding as well. As long as it's meeting your objective and questions are making sense, which it will for sure.
Yeah.
Then you can just go ahead with the launch. See, the question got changed.
Changes applied. The question got changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is you are asked. Correct. Now, before you click the next button, now that you've done so many research surveys yourself, for this kind of stuff, what do you think will be the time period required to get the respondents?
Oh, to get the response, do the field work.
Yeah, to the field work. So you select the audience, get the field work done.
Yeah, I mean, for this kind of a survey, 3 to 4 weeks of field work alone, I would think.
Yeah. So let's look at now this. So launch the survey. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so it's asking me to select the audience.
Yeah. Just click on that.
I have. It's analyzing the request. So then, even though we've specified the audiences in the beginning,
you'll understand why it is asking you to from here. Because at the back end we have got 5 million. Because you said Gen Z and whatever, it's broadly that number of people at the back end.
Right. So it'll ask me to sharpen it.
Sharpen it further.
So it'll challenge me.
It will suggest you a number as well to go for.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
So what are you showing now?
So audience review is showing audience size is 250.
So that's a recommended one. You can edit the number as well if you want.
Okay.
But it believes for this objective 250 is a good number.
Okay, male, female, 18 to 35 both. Yeah. Even though we had females in mind when we were talking about it, we were suggesting men.
But we didn't specify male to it, and hence it is suggested both.
Okay, and Pan India, which I can choose 7 days. Oh, it's suggesting some
7
affinities.
days. It says 7 days, and top of it suggesting the affinities also to you.
Yeah, so 7 days response time, so it'll be open for 7 days, and as when the data gets collected, it'll close Amazon.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
And affinities are social media influencer, fashionistas, luxury shoppers, budget travelers, and so on and so forth. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So again, everything is editable, but probably you can just go ahead and proceed if you want to from here.
Yeah, let's proceed. This seems to be a good suggestion, and I will be able to read respondents of men, women separately.
Yes.
Right? I don't need to necessarily specify now saying, give me 50% men or 40%
No,
men.
no. You can do any kind of cut later. And it will also do a weightage for you if required.
Right.
Manish, you clicked on the proceed button.
Yeah.
And see what happens. The survey is already live.
Right. Survey is already live.
Yes.
Brilliant. And it's giving me an update on how many respondents it's got in the real-time situation.
Correct.
Brilliant. So we've basically gone from understanding the context of the category and the consumers, to get a little bit of a flavor, to creating a survey and launching it within a matter of 10 to 15 minutes.
Absolutely. You sharpen the objective in between.
Yeah.
You change whatever you want to change in the question if there's a need for it.
Yeah.
And then it goes live. And the moment you click on the live button to go live, what happens is at the back end, real consumer of Smytten will get a notification depending on the number of respondents that you need. If you need 250 respondents, it will open up 10,000 users to begin with, because we know 250 will get it within few hours.
Right.
If I open up 10,000 respondents.
So these are not panel of respondents. These are real consumers.
Absolutely. They're real consumers who are doing transactions, paying us money. So I'm not going by the claim data at all here.
Okay. And so therefore, when I'm looking at the results, I don't necessarily have to look at the results of only what people have said in the data.
Right.
In the survey.
Absolutely.
I can get a lot of metadata. So for example, what are people who said that I use, let's say, face washes. Yes. I can actually see whether they're trying face wash samples or not.
Yeah, because I'm sitting on the transactional data of those users.
Right. And I could also see, but what are they interested in? So are they interested in naturals or organics or, whatever, healthier products?
Yeah.
etc., what fragrances they are interested in.
Absolutely.
And link it to that, even though we haven't asked these questions.
Correct.
Brilliant. Okay.
So all of this, so while it is what you've done here, if you think of it, one we spoke about earlier, the problem of speed, how accurate it can be. We got all of that in place through PulseSurvey.ai.
Right.
On top of it, to get to the right audience. It is a Smytten audience that we have built over the last 9 years, 25 million audience. And we said Gen Z, so we're talking about 5 million audience already in Gen Z on Smytten who are very, very active.
Yeah.
All of them to giving responses to you. Right. And why would consumer come and give a response? Because they are also getting immediate gratification because you give them points to go back and buy anything more than that. Yeah. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Correct. So incentivizing respondent is a common thing. That is not something unusual.
Yeah.
But you're incentivizing them to basically engage more on the Smytten platform.
Absolutely.
So that the consumers keep coming back and we can get more insights around that.
It's the immediate gratification that works for us.
Yeah.
Had I given them a voucher that would be valid or would be active after 20 days, it doesn't work.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. So what has happened in all of this? It is our trained LLMs and Gen AI, which has allowed us to do all of this bit.
Yeah.
Right? And that is the beauty of it.
Right. So what kind of LLMs have you deployed?
So it's a learning thing that we have done it. And it's a completely in-house thing that we have developed it.
Right.
And on top of it, since we've been started talking it, within 45-50 minutes for the kind of question that you ask, because Gen Z is a larger audience on the platform itself, you start seeing the output as well.
Right.
Right. So people start filling in surveys. If you just click on the output.
Yeah. Let's look at the output we've got.
So what it will do now is, what it has done here is, once the survey was 50% filled, it actually gave you a summary.
Yeah.
Just for you to see whether it is in line with your expectation, not the output, but actually you're getting the quality respondents or not. Right?
Yeah, so it's actually giving me executive summary of the entire survey.
Yes.
It's also giving me summary for every section. So there were different sections that we created.
Correct.
Plus, it is giving me responses for each question in terms of percentages.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a lot of detail.
And it has actually put a bit of a goalpost for you here, a bit of a check by doing 50%. And now that if everything is okay, then you also will get obviously within the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes for the complete survey.
Right. And I can also export it in whatever format I want.
Absolutely. Right. But so it has given you executive summary, it has given you answers against every, it has also given insights on top of it.
Yeah.
If there was any open-ended question, it would have summarized open-ended question. So you have to spend hours to get to what the consumer is trying to say.
Yeah.
Now, the last bit of it, if you just click on deep insights, this is where the magic happens again.
Okay. Right.
It just gives you 4 or 5 paragraphs out here to tell you exactly what you were looking for.
Right. And that is a sort of I can see that this is a summary not just from the survey,
yes,
but also what it gave me the background of the context information.
Earlier.
Yeah, so
can
it's
you just give
combining
me,
the two.
Absolutely. It is not just giving respond to the service, it is also looking at what's happening outside and trying to compare with that so you can start making a lot more sense.
Interesting. So, Sid, I don't think this is Pulse survey. This is Pulse Insights, really. I mean, this is real-time insights. Because surveys initially made me feel like, I'll be able to do a survey. It'll give me standard questionnaire, and I'll just launch it and do it. But it didn't give me a standard questionnaire. It made a questionnaire according to the context that we gave to the system. It also gave me background information from by searching online on the relevant information, and then it created a relevant survey. It didn't pick up a standardized questionnaire and launch it. So it's a lot more Pulse Insight, holistic Pulse Insight rather than Pulse surveys, which is very fascinating and interesting. It has summarized not just the insights coming in from the survey, but it has also included things that it showed us from the background research before we started the survey.
Absolutely.
And that's quite interesting, way of sort of summarizing what you've learned in this particular thing.
Correct. So Manish, we started this conversation by talking about founders and how the power has to go to their fingertips, and so that they can take decisions very, very fast. And that was the idea why PulseSurveyAI was done. Right. What do you think of it, having seen this product?
So I mean, thank you for giving me the demonstration. I think till you see it, it doesn't sort of come,
I got into it yourself. That was the reason,
And I could do it myself, and it doesn't really come to life. Didn't really come to life till I played with it.
Yeah.
So it's been about 30 years since I've been in this industry now, and going from deciding what the objective is, to getting the background information, to creating the survey, and going live in a matter of 15-20 minutes, I think it's quite revolutionary. It's not something that we've ever seen before, and quite groundbreaking. And I think it gives the power in the hands of anybody who wants to use research and get insights, right? Because I don't need to be an expert now in creating the right questionnaire. I don't need to be an expert in saying, how do I tabulate the data? Right. I need to have the right questions. And the system is also challenging me, saying, are you sure you want to delete this question? Are you sure you don't want to include men? And so on and so forth. It's a very, very powerful system, something that we've not seen. I've not seen in the last 30 years. Of course, this technology is pretty new as well, but it's quite revolutionary. And I think from the CEOs to the assistant managers, and not just the insight teams.
Yes.
This tool could be quite powerful.
Absolutely, and this will be powerful across industries as well. And this is just the beginning, Manish. A lot more is going to come from us to ensure that we make this whole data piece, insight piece, lot more richer for the people at a fast pace.
Fantastic to see a product like that, and I'm looking forward to us using the product and different companies using that product, for the benefit of that. So thank you to your congratulations to you and your team for doing that.
Thank you so much for that, Manish.